All right, we're being live streamed. There we go. Being recorded. We're all set that way. All right.
You may begin.
Go ahead, Bart.
You may begin.
We're all good. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, everybody, with that, let's call this meeting to order. I will call to order at 1:05. And with that, please, I'll lead the way. Do a quick pledge of allegiance. All right, if you would, I'll lead us. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 2, accomplish. All right, do a roll call here, and if you would, go ahead and unmute yourself just to give us an eye. Nick Murray.
Present.
Thank you. Carol Scott.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Mark Stovak, I don't believe I saw you on here. I do not at this time. All right, Adam Hunsaker.
Present.
Thank you. Jeremy Haas. Okay. On there. Nicole McFarland.
Here.
Thank
I said
you.
aye. Sorry, I was muted.
Thank you. Yep, gotcha. Thank you. Pamela Sloan not in attendance yet, still trying to. Mark Deanza. See you? I thought I saw you. I do not. Okay. Rollin Stallworth. You're there. Gotcha. Kyle Lemon not here. Steve Rohr. Steve, I see there you are, sir. Gotcha. Ernie Howren not yet logged on. Trying to. Okay. We can always correct that when they're in there. And then I'm present as a committee director and Tia Wonders committee secretary, also both here. All right, if you would please need a motion to approve this very brief agenda. Anyone just unmute, speak up. Motion please to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Adam. Need a second, please.
I'll
second.
Thank you. Got Rollins in there. I know a few of you did. Thank you. All right, any questions, any comments, anything on the agenda we need to be aware of? Okay. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, passes at 1:08. We're moving on. Public comment. I'm not going to read this here. I have not seen anything come through on email, text message, voice message, nothing this agenda at all. If anybody in the public is out there and they wish to make a public comment, please feel free at this time to do so, to email Tia Wonder in our office. That's TWUNDER@NIAA.com. Once again, we'll have a public comment at the very end of this thing. Once again, anybody listening out there, first initial T for Tia, first name, last name spelled out, WUNDER, TWonder@NIAA.com. But as of number 5 at this point, do not have anything. So let's move on to number 6, our policy. And you know what? First of all, I want to thank everybody, this entire group, for really finishing a whole lot of important work in a very short period of time. And as Mr. Anderson, our legal counsel, said last time, this is a pretty unique process in that we're trying to get something accomplished to the very best of our abilities by a July 1st, 2024 launch date. But we need to go through Nevada administrative codes. We need to go through our board first. I'll explain that after we finish item number 6. And then we need to send it back to the LCB for any kind of rewrites, put it into code. You know, again, we're working as diligently as possible to think that we are on the verge of an item for possible action. Getting this done today out of this committee on September 8th is absolutely incredible. So what a lot of work. With that said, Dr. Murray, I'm going to turn it to you. We're going to go just do a little page by page here, and you can explain where the updates are in this packet. And we'll get into questions, comments, possible revisions, and that we'll look to approve this for forwarding to our Board of Control. So Nick, take it away.
Thanks, Donnie. Appreciate it. So on the draft policy that's dated on the 29th that was sent out, that is the most recent one with the suggested changes that were emailed to me or that we discussed in-house at our meeting. That also includes the changes that are provided from Dr. Zong's office as well, which we did not have at our meeting, obviously due to my own mistake on my end. So in that prior email to everybody, you can see the different iterations and the versions of the changes, but to outline in the version from the 29th, the most major changes. On page 3, there are some clarifications on total symptoms. I think it's the first bullet point underneath the concussion management team checklist area. So about halfway down the page. That is in specific response to when we had a discussion with Dr. Stovak, Dr. Scott, and I kind of at the NIAA meeting 2 weeks ago, where we essentially kind of walked through that some folks won't ever return to a 0 symptom score. And that's mostly because some of the symptoms are related to emotional effects, or I'm nervous for taking the test. And so ideally, we want them to be below 6 to 7 total symptom severity. However, this should exclude the physiological effects of the headache, dizziness, sensitivity to light, unless they're present at baseline. And that helps to clarify if folks have a pre-existing migraine-based condition, any type of ophthalmic-based issue that could lead to increased dizziness or sensitivity to light. Any of those factors is going to be something that should be incorporated. And it reaffirms that, at a bare minimum, we should be checking our athletes and our students at some sort of a baseline level before they go into any type of competition, so that we have a good understanding of where they are before and what happens after. Otherwise, sometimes the management process can take a little bit longer. Second change on that page is also, Dr. Stovak wanted us to clear this up, and it was a really good suggestion. Requires possibly 2 visits from a healthcare provider, basically for the documentation to get them back to the field. There are times we always encourage that immediately following the injury, that the management team is initiated as soon as possible, and that includes every person in the chain. And then those folks may want to see them again, and obviously probably should see them again when we are getting towards the clearance process or at the end or the beginning of return to play, return to learn. And so it's to specify that there are possibility of having multiple visits, and we're recommending that may require 2 visits, especially when we're getting back to return to play. And then moving on, we stipulated some changes on verbiage and wording on page 5, mostly with appropriate clinical tests. So it's saying there was one issue there where the student athlete asymptomatic, computerized neurocognitive tests repeated. And then it wasn't stipulated that we are also asking for the appropriate clinical tests to be involved at that point. I think that was an oversight on my part, mostly because we are all going to be doing some version of clinical testing, whether it's going to be through, BOMS testing, C3 logic, any of these different modalities. They're all different assessments that are going to help with the management of the case. And so our goal is to say neurocognitive testing is just not the only piece. It needs to be involved along with the appropriate clinical test that'll be decided. And then earlier on, there was one other change. So let me just make sure there's nothing else. There's a change on page 7, yeah. And then earlier on page 5, there's a stipulation. I'm trying to clean up the verbiage on when we should do, how we should do, and who should be initiated in the administration of the testing. And then page 8 is a clarification on just a grammatical issue. And page 11 stipulates return to play progression for student athletes, reaffirms that we have the presence of 6 to 7 reduced symptomology, so 6 to 7 total symptom severity, or 0 symptoms, which is preferred, ideally, if we don't have that initial baseline checklist, or we think there's some sort of underlying pathology. Then the last change is going to be on page 12, which stipulates for the return to sport, and the student athlete should never return to play or practice if they have any symptoms, which has been removed also because of the stipulation of the 6 to 7 total symptom severity that we are attempting to reaffirm there. So essentially, if their symptoms are not at baseline levels or they can't be linked to the injury. And those are the changes. Not extensive, but definitely good and needed to be clarified, especially on the symptoms and being consistent across all of those areas. So I do appreciate the attention to detail that everyone was able to give me those feedback.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. Yep, going through it page by page, didn't miss a one on any error of any way, shape, or form. So looks like we got everything covered. All right, Stella, this was your creation. How do you feel? Are we ready to go?
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the work that you've done and for being able to make this quick meeting. I especially want to say thank you to Dr. Murray and Brianna Taylor and everybody who came together on this, even if you didn't know it was going to happen. You were mentioned, and of course the NIAA, Donnie. It's been a lot of work, and I truly appreciate that everyone has gotten together to try and get this done as quickly but as correctly as possible. So it's been a lot of work, so I just really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Again,
Good.
keep staying on the outside of the committee first. Brianna, anything else that we've missed on this from your perspective?
Nothing that I can see. Looks great.
Okay, and then going internally, I want to welcome Pam Sloan, Mark Deanza, and Ernie Howren have all joined the meeting as part of the committee. So Mark is here. I know Coach Howren, you've been obviously occupied with the in-season stuff. Hopefully you've had a chance to review this. If there's anything we're missing, I'll come to you here in just a minute since I go down the list and see if there's any recommended additions, changes from this point forward. And then we'll talk about where this goes from here. So going through then the list, Carol, anything on your end you see? One last little call. We all good?
No, looks good. All good.
Okay, thank you. Adam, your side, anything? Okay, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I'm all good.
Okay, sorry, Adam, there you are. Okay, Jeremy?
Nope, I have no changes.
Okay, Nicole?
No changes on my end.
Okay, Pam?
I have no changes.
All right, Mark, Deanza?
Looks great. Nice work.
Okay, thank you. Rollins?
You know what? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if this is the time and place for this, but I do think that somewhere either in the beginning of this or at the end of this process is a statement being made about the importance of having an ATC on every campus, or something along those lines that I can put my teeth into when I go to the district and say, we have 3 schools out of our 11 that don't have a trainer. We have district policy, we have district administrative documents that state and use the term athletic trainer, and yet we don't have that as a requirement in everyday instances on our campuses in Washoe County School District. And so this might be a Washoe County School District thing only. I don't really think so, because rural areas don't have trainers as well in most cases. But I think that this document should include some kind of a statement making a high recommendation that athletic trainers be hired on staff or be provided, or something along those lines to give it a little bit more teeth.
All right, Rollins, what I'm going to suggest is, and again, I don't want to overstep my bounds in what you've just mentioned. I think for regards to this policy and passing it here today, what I'd like to do is when this group gets back together during the wintertime, whether it be December or January, in advance of our January 17th, 18th NIAA board meeting, is look at creating some kind of a position statement, and whether that be attached indirectly to this policy or even with the event management guide and the sports medicine sections we have in there. I think I'd like to put it that way.
Okay.
I don't think I want to, with all due respect to everybody in here, I don't want to worry about attaching that today to this policy, but we can mention it, Rollins, when we get to our board meeting here in a couple of weeks. That would be the time with this agenda item to mention what you just said. Let the board hear that, and then you as vice president or Pam as president or any other board member could direct me to say, hey, Donnie, take it back to the SMAC, create a position statement, attach it to this or to some other document, and then we'll work through the process that way, if that's amenable to you.
Fantastic. That'll work out real good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're welcome. And again, as the director, I am all in favor of creating that position statement to help, help our schools and our districts get to that point where long-term down the road, whatever that means, I don't want to muddy up this agenda item, but, see if there's funding or direction or something available along those lines. But that's coming then, I think. Thank you, Rollins. Let's see here. Let's go, Steve?
Okay.
Anything from you on this side?
Nothing from me. I want to welcome Coach Ernie Howard, who just logged on a few minutes ago.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and again, and Ernie, same thing too. I know you're jumping in, just seeing this. If you have any comments from you, we move forward.
It looks great. It looks, yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
thank you.
Yep.
All right, with that, Tia, any public comment has come into your emails? I still haven't seen anything on mine. So.
Donnie, this is Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
There's an email from Mark Stovak here, indicating that he was stuck in a meeting up at the university, but he wanted to vote to approve the concussion protocols.
Okay.
But he said he'd like to propose adding the word athletic trainers in the first bullet of the mission statement.
Of the mission statement, yes. Okay. That's exactly.
So that's in an email that I think is addressed to everybody on the committee, and so you can just incorporate that, as you see fit.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you, Paul, for that. That goes exactly with what Rollins had just mentioned and what I think my future direction is with that. So that is perfect.
Can I ask for clarification on where the mission statement is? Is that just the first page, the definition of concussion and reason for developing?
There isn't a mission statement on the document, if I'm correct, Dr. Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. I see that the mission statement is what we adopted last meeting. That's just the SMAC goals and objectives document.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that document. That's going to be posted on our SMAC page. And then that will be basically associated with everything that we do, just as an overlying, well, exactly that, goals and objectives of this committee. That's all it is. And so what Rollins just said fits perfectly with what Dr. Stovak just said, including in that area. So I think we can reapprove that. And then again, ask board comments once we get into our September 27th, 28th meeting coming up. All right. Okay. With that, anything else from anybody before we send it into a call for a motion?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're all good then otherwise. All right.
No, we are not. We have two hands raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. Two hands raised. Nick, I see you first, and then I'm missing the other hand. Where's the other hand? Oh, there we go. Brianna. Sorry, my screen just jumped. All right. Yeah, Nick, go ahead. You first.
So just to stipulate to Rollins' comment, athletic trainers are named in this document currently. So it's found throughout it. So we can stress the importance of that immediately, but also that it's important for the healthcare provider team. That's really important because it can't just be the athletic trainer, it needs to be everybody. Huge advocate for athletic trainers, absolutely believe 100%, and I think the mission statement can help to reaffirm that.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Ms. Taylor.
Quick question, just because on the NDE side, because we have to form our own policy on this. Does Clark County have an athletic trainer at every high school?
Turn over to Ms. Sloan.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, but go ahead, Pam, if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do at every high school.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. The reason I asked the question is I know there's not a school nurse at every school, and that includes in the rural. So when you were bringing up the athletic trainer not existing in most of the rural schools, just we're working on our end of the policy. So I just wanted to make sure. And since I had you all right here in this room, I thought I would ask the question. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect timing, Brian. You got it. All right. Anybody else? I don't see any hands up. All right. With that said, may I please have a motion to adopt the policy to go forward to the Board of Control on September 27th, 28th. Dr. Murray, you want to make that motion for us? All right. Do I have a second, please?
Second. I'll second.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Again, appreciate all your work and lining this up with Stella and moving us forward. So perfect. Okay. Any last call? Any further discussion, comments, information? All right, all those in favor, go ahead and unmute yourself. Say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And just to make sure,
Aye.
if you're in opposition, please unmute yourself and say nay. Anybody in opposition? All right, at 1:25, we have just passed an incredible policy within our association. Congratulate. Well, we started to pass it. We can still got some steps to go, but we're on our way. So great job, everybody. We'll see what happens from the board level here in a couple weeks. All right. with that,
We
let's
have
go.
to have a second public comment before we can adjourn the meeting.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Yep. So we'll go on number 7, and this is again a second chance to public comment. Tia, anything that you've received via email? Again, I've still haven't received anything via text or email on my end.
No.
Checking. Nothing. We're clear. Okay. I'm not gonna read that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, then with that, I told you it'd be 30 minutes. We're gonna adjourn at 1:26, and we will get back together again sometime December, January. I'll communicate with you after.